You're listening to season 15 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm illiterate.
That's
Hi,
true.
illiterate. I'm Dad. T-shirt join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
Well, welcome back this week. Confidence, Takovas, it's not just what you wear, it's how you feel. It even extends to coaches in the ACC. Dabo Swinney, for example, had an extreme jump in confidence for his Clemson Tigers this week. We even got a clip of him describing this excitement.
But we don't play nobody.
I mean, quite honestly, that's the most excited I've heard Dabo Swinney all season. But Dabo was not short on words this week, though. After UVA's win over Florida State, we caught a clip of Dabo in response to Tony Elliott.
All right. When I hired Tony Elliott to be the offensive coordinator who never called a play in his life.
Confidence if I ever heard any. In a season in which Dabo has not had much to crow about, he sure found a lot this week. But on to UVA, we actually had a local on-site reporting. David, you were there, right?
I was, yes. I in the stands, not on the field.
Yeah.
That's not
Oh,
what I heard.
oh, yeah. Oh no, this has nothing to do on the field, but it was an exciting time though, right? I assume.
It was, yeah.
It's so exciting that we even caught a clip of David was not clarification. David was not on the field. He did not go on the field after the game. Was not part of that craziness. But we did happen to have a hidden audio mic that caught David on his way to the lawn. We'll just let it play here. Well, apparently it was like stuffed under somebody's jacket. That was a wah wah.
In Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah, like apparently we caught that across the lawn there.
I barely remember that moment. Jeff.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that barely remember that moment, remember any of their moments from Friday. But David, I assume that there was a lot of confidence in the fan base over there, something that UVA football has not seen in quite some time.
It was nice. Highlight of the night actually was they honored several of the UVA national championship teams in various sports, as as you do at the halftime show. You know what I'm saying, Jared?
Shut.
Well, overall, 3 of the 4 of us can feel very confident this week. Jared is still looking for that. He's down 35 to nothing. But speaking of someone who's not down 35 to nothing, Andrew, you want to lead us into your player of the week?
Yeah, I know this is the comparably controversial player of the week pick, given the downside numbers of 3 interceptions on the game, but still kind of hard not to give it to Chandler Morris for putting the team on his back, finally realizing that maybe we might win the game if he wouldn't throw the ball. Particularly in dumb situations, and tucking it under for the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Overall, he did have 229 yards and 2 touchdowns, and picked up a small number of rushing yards, only 37, but had 3 TDs. Obviously, you can have a big impact without running very far whenever you don't have to go far in overtime. But props to Morris for getting it done on the offensive side of the UVA ball. But I think it's probably more important to talk about the defensive side, don't you, David?
I do. I absolutely do. So the most impressive player from beginning to end on Friday night for the Who's was Jason Prevard. He is the defensive back. Made a pretty impressive interception in the red zone in the first quarter. Kind of took the ball away from Tommy Castellanos as the Seminoles were driving, and then of course the iconic moment of the night. He picked off the fourth down pass in double overtime to seal the victory for the Who's, somehow survived the onslaught of what must have been the fastest storming of the field we've ever seen in history. So Brevard is recipient of a virtual tailgate game ball. He is still alive after the field storming, and he is looking to lead the Who's perhaps to another victory on the road at Louisville this weekend.
I would just like to thank Andrew before I head into my game ball for justifying my point that overtime fields are certainly too short, as he says. Well, Chandler Morris only got a few rushing yards because in overtime you don't have to go that far with the ball, which has been my bone to pick with the overtime. for years in college overtime that you basically start in field goal range, but nevertheless, thanks for that additional justification, Andrew. But my game ball this week, can't remember if he's already gotten one this week or this season or not, but preseason player of the year for the ACC, Haynes King, quarterback, Georgia Tech. 28 of 42, 243 yards and a TD, added 2 more on the ground and 106 rushing yards. Probably the biggest part about this, though, is this game was not looking very good for Georgia Tech. Actually, through the first half of football, this was very much looking like the letdown game, the disappointment that we were all kind of afraid of at some point with this Georgia Tech team. When were the wheels going to come off? When were they going to get, when were they going to have a game where they just did not show up to play? And for a half of football, it looked ever much that way. They were down 20-3. Haynes King, though, showed every bit to be the preseason ACC Player of the Year that he was voted on by a lot of people. Led Georgia Tech on 2 third quarter TD drives, 2 fourth quarter field goal drives, including one at the end of the fourth to tie the game and send it to overtime, and then rushed for the game-winning TD in overtime to save the Yellow Jacks' perfect season and pursuit of a college football playoff bid. Would not be remiss though to not give an honorable mention to Clayton Powell-Lee of Georgia Tech, who intercepted Wake Forest's attempt to win on the ensuing drive that they had in their turn in overtime to try to win the game with a 2-point conversion and sealed the victory for the Yellow Jackets and retained their perfect season.
And my game ball is going to go to Nate Shepard, the running back from Duke. 15 carries, 168 yards, 201 all-purpose yards, and 2 touchdowns. Shepard, in his first collegiate start, the true freshman, was nothing short of sensational. Shepard's 168 yards were the fourth most by a Duke freshman in program history, and the most by any freshman nationally this past week. Combination of vision, power, breakaway speed, was highlighted by a 49. Oh my God, was highlighted by a 49-yard touchdown run, giving Duke the offensive weapon power they need in the ACC running back rookie of the week honors. And if you cannot tell, not only did I fumble that AI script, I think I may be having a stroke. Other than that, let's just move on. Because it's time for the power ratings. And they're brought to you by the defaults from the Virtual Tailgate. In week 5, we saw a so-called contender get their ass exposed on Friday night. One could say it was even scalped. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into these power rankings here. Number 1, not moving, Miami, bye week, no surprise. And actually, we're going to talk about the team that got their ass scalped on Friday in Charlottesville really soon. Number 2, Georgia Tech. They squeaked by Wake Forest 30-29. But I'm sure many in Atlanta are thanking their engineering gods because of Wake Forest going for 2 at the end of the first overtime and just not being able to connect to pull off the upset. Georgia Tech squeaks by and count their lucky stars and live to be undefeated for another day. Number 3, Louisville, the Cardinals. They fought back and forth, moved up a spot, and went ahead and beat Pitt 34-27. Pitt did everything they could to give the game away, and they did. That's the Narduzzi special, folks. Yeah. Number 4, UVA, big jump, up 5 spots, biggest jumper of the week in the power rankings for obvious reasons. They pull off the huge upset against Florida State, 46-38. Probably the biggest win for the Cavaliers in program history in about, I don't know. Wait, I guess probably the last time they beat Virginia Tech, if we have to be honest, in the past 10 years. It's a big win. It's put the Hokies, not the Hokies, the Cavaliers on the national map. People are talking about them, and they have a lot to live up to in this upcoming matchup with their so-called rival, Louisville Cardinals. Number 5, Florida State, vice versa. What I just said, they lost to UVA, dropping 2 spots in the power rankings. Now the bottom 3, the ass tier, my personal favorite. Number 15, Stanford. We reward your victory against San Jose State by not moving you up out of the bottom tier. You stay where you are, number 15. Yeah, we're pretty cruel here on the Virtual Tailgate. It's funny, though. Number 16, Boston College, dropping 2 spots from their previous ranking and joining the bottom 3 here of the power rankings. Lost out. Let me
Come on, you damn bird! Come and get me!
It's been too
All
long.
right, all right. Hold on, hold on. Let me wipe the blood out of my ears from. I mean, on one hand, we got a clip of David doing something like improper and like you can and like it sounds like you were like lighting it up over like in the next house, and then and then all of a sudden I got a damn bird like screeching and blowing out my eardrums here. What kind of what kind of operation is this?
You gave me feedback, and I tried to make it better. Apparently, I overcorrected. Now, now if
Too
we
far, buddy.
I wish I could complain about it, but I can't hear what you're saying right now, Andrew.
I can play more clips.
We're good, I think, for now. Let's see. Let's just jump to number 17. Wake Forest, tough loss, going for 2 against Georgia Tech, dropping 1 spot to be dead last in our power rankings. George Carlin, are you there? Or The Rock? Anybody? God?
He clambered up, looked in, and nearly fell off in surprise.
Someone defecating.
How was that, Jeff? Is it better?
It was good.
See, I just had to range it. It just took a second. Here, we can give you all of them.
The Rock says they kept you at the bottom of the barrel because you absolutely suck.
And even Jared's new favorite.
I like how everyone's cheering at that. That's my personal favorite.
Maybe what we need to do is just assign one of those to each spot in 15, 16, and 17. Like everybody gets one each week.
Oh, boys. You ready to talk about football?
Because you don't have to be last to get the ass one, right? I mean, Stanford can be ass, right, Jared?
Absolutely. I mean, hell, you
Yeah.
can say Pittsburgh was ass.
We can play it for some of the games that are coming up to talk about this week.
I mean,
We
you
gotta
can
let
argue
Jared.
the A in ACC stands for Ass Coast Conference.
But we gotta let David bring us in first.
I'd like to do that. Been trying to for a while here. All right. We are going to talk about some of the thrilling matchups coming up in where are we going into? Week 6 of the ACC season. Before that, however, we need to take a look at how we're doing with our picks this season. For the 3rd straight week, the 4th week out of 5 on the year, Andrew has dominated once again, which either means that the man is a true ball knower or he is cheating his rear off at this thing. Given that he is in charge of the spreadsheets, you all can draw your own conclusion.
Yeah,
Given that
I'm
given that the
proposing.
spreadsheets have history on them, man, you can go check my work.
Yeah, I think I will.
Jeff will be doing some investigative journalism this week. We'll report back. In the meantime, I need to tell you something even more impressive than Andrew's performance, and that is that I managed to miss every single pick this week, boys. I quit the show last week, as you may remember, and I thought about not showing my face again tonight for the same reason. But I'm here. I'm here to take my medicine and to remind everyone that though I had the worst performance in the history of the show, I am still not in last place on the season because Spirit has dug such a hole that you can meet him there. For the year, Andrew's in first place, Jeff's in second, I'm in third. We are all still in the black for the season. We've all made money. Jared is the only one in the red, as the Lord intended.
Well, the reason for that is because I don't see color, brother. I see everyone as equal. So the fact that you all want to be with that group is that's your call. That you make peace with that. All right, that's all I gotta say about that. And other than that, fake news. Fake news. I am speaking.
Oh, all right, there you go. All right, first
Andrew,
game.
feel free to cut off his mic whenever.
First game of the week, the upstart Virginia Cavaliers coming off their biggest win, as Jared said, in many seasons, traveling on the road, taking on the Louisville Cardinals, a Louisville team that narrowly escaped getting upset by Pitt on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, rather. What is the spread in this is like 6.5, 7.5 or something for Louisville. Is that right?
7.5
Yeah,
is
I
what
got
I
it right
saw.
here.
I think the one
7 and a
we're
half.
working with is 7. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see that to believe it. I think this is a close game that Virginia comes up just short. So I'm taking Louisville on the money line. I am gonna assume everybody agrees.
Well, I agree that Louisville's going to win, but I got Virginia in the spread. I think this is the time. If Virginia is actually a good football team, they need to find a way to get down to Louisville and make this game close. I think they do have the talent. They prove they can beat a top 10 team. We all still think Florida State is pretty good. We think we'll talk more about that in a pet here in a minute, but the Cavaliers show the grit and the tenacity that you need to be
Grit.
a team. Grit. There you go. And tenacity you need to be a good team for 4 quarters. They bounce back when they face adversity, and Louisville's going to give everything they can handle. The Cardinals are no team to be slouch about. However, going down to Louisville, all this energy, just overexcitement. It's just really hard for most teams to come back down to earth when they go ahead and play their next matchup. I just think at the end of the day, they find a way to make it close, but I think the Cardinals will go ahead and find a way to win this game just because they're probably more, as people would say, more even keel last week compared to what UVA went through the roller coaster of emotions last Friday.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and weigh in here too, because Jared and I are in the same mindset in this one. I could certainly this is a pick that scares me probably because I've been through the Virginia ups and downs, mostly downs over the last 2 decades or so. But this really feels like not just it really feels like like a prove it game for the Cavaliers at this point. That are they the team that people have sort of talked about over the last couple of weeks as a team that may be trending in the right direction. And that Florida State game was really the climax of some of that chatter of, were they just a beneficiary of a Charmin soft schedule, inopportune interception by Chandler Morris in the NC State game kept them from being potentially undefeated coming into that Florida State undefeated coming into this game against Louisville, who is also coincidentally undefeated going into this game. But what do we really know about this Louisville team? I mean, in a similar vein to Virginia, although even less so, what is their resume at 4-0? I mean, this is a team that outside of Pitt doing everything they could, as Jared said, to lose the game and then eventually, yeah, lose the game. This is a Louisville team that has not played very hardly anybody to start the season, and overall is not really. I think David used the term about which team was it that used it about a couple weeks ago, David, that they play with their food before they win. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
remember which team that is.
Yeah, I
Louisville
think it was
feels
Miami. I no longer believe that about them, but
yeah, but
good.
but Louisville, if you look at who they've played and the amount that the number of points, they haven't really put a team away in the way that you would think they should. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see anything happen, honestly. But to me, is Virginia better than Louisville at Louisville? I don't quite know, but you give me a touchdown, I certainly hope that Tony Elliott and the Cavaliers do not regress so much in a week that they can't stay at least within a touchdown against this Louisville Cardinal team.
I like how Jared said that Louisville had a more even keeled victory whenever they were losing by 10 to a Pitt team
Because that's expected, alright? When we play Pitt, you just know
at
Narduzzi's gonna
halftime.
piss it away. It's just the Narduzzi special, folks. You go to that Italian restaurant, you always get the same thing because it's the special. You get the lasagna made with the hands, the fresh pasta. You go ahead, you get the red wine. You go ahead, you get the tiramisu dessert. And then right there under that special is called the Narduzzi special, which is how to lose a game, you know, with that Narduzzi, and that's what it is. And you just
So
expect it with Pitt.
we're getting the signal and we need to wrap up and go on. Jared's talked through all of my time. All I have to say is Virginia on the money line here.
Because
I
because it's
like
worked
that
for
bold
him.
pick, Andrew. I'm starting to see, as I look ahead at some of your future picks here, I'm starting to see what you're doing, and I like it. All right, next up is a game. We had this circled from in the preseason, and who would have known it's still a game we want to talk about. for all of the different reasons. So this is the Clemson Tigers, national title contenders, a lock for the playoff, top team in the ACC, all of those things, traveling down to Chapel Hill to take on the upstart Tar Heels, bringing in the NFL coach, implementing this NFL scouting combine atmosphere there. Jordan Hudson running things as the general manager. We knew this would be a marquee matchup. What we didn't realize is that it would be the surprisingly the sicko game of the season in the ACC. That's right. It's Clemson at North Carolina. Both teams been major disappointments on the year. Tigers come in as 12.5-point road favorites, and we are split down the middle on what we expect to see happen. I'd like Andrew and Jared, to hear the two of you explain yourselves.
Well, I'll go first because you got Clemson 12 in the hook. You think they'll win by 2 scores. I think Clemson wins. I just think North Carolina keeps it close.
What evidence have you seen that they can keep it close against a good team?
What evidence have you seen that Clemson can actually blow a team out by 2 scores?
No, sorry. Jared messed up.
Point,
Hold on. Jared messed up the phrasing on that. David, what evidence have you seen that Clemson is a good team? If you want to ask if North Carolina can keep it close against a good team.
Duly noted.
So yeah. I mean, but Andrew's going to be more aggressive than me. I just think at the end of the day that Clemson can't win a game right now by more than 2 scores. I think it's going to be about a 7, maybe 8-point win if they're lucky, and North Carolina finds a way to at least give them a little sweat on the back end there in the fourth quarter somehow. I think Belichick is going to have to adjust a little bit. He's now got a bye. He had a bye week. He's going to go ahead and have to make the adjustments. And worst case scenario, if North Carolina is ass, at least he's getting ass with his 24-year-old girlfriend. So,
all right, Andrew, you agree with this?
That's
narrowly wins here on the road in Chapel Hill.
Do you want the snark pick or the potential actual analysis?
Yes.
Okay. The snark pick is this is a good value pick, as Geoff called it in the pre-show, and it's also the pick that points at maximum chaos. The actual, like, if there's going to be any analysis, is that if anything's ever going to work at UNC, like they've been doing this for long enough that maybe something will stick. Maybe they should have something together. And really, like, I don't think that I have a hard time believing that Dabo's going to turn this team around if he hasn't yet, with all of the problems that they've had. I start to wonder if he's in that starting to move into that losing the locker room sort of area. We know that Chapel Hill can't have lost that locker room because he wouldn't have barely gained it yet. But but I also suspect that there's like some sort of grudging respect across that locker room, given Chapel Hill's current romantic situation. So like, but I do think that, like, at some point something's got to click for North Carolina. Why not this game? Clemson, I have no hope for anymore. So I just write them off until they actually do something to prove me wrong.
All right, Geoff, this is nonsense what these boys have been saying, right?
Now Geoff's coming around. I can see it.
Well, I'm just thinking that a tiger and a Tar Heel are taking a dump in the woods.
we just have some of the same old jokes.
And they both just realized that they are crap, because that's basically what both of these teams are. I am actually of the opposite opinion of Andrew of Dabo losing the locker room. I actually think that of these two coaches, if we're to grade this game not on what's going to happen on the field but in the locker rooms, in the collegiate field, Dabo has more on the line right now than Bill Belichick does. Bill Belichick, he comes with all the cachet of the NFL. He will not be seen as a failure of a coach, or as a coach that went past his prime in college if this thing with UNC does not work out. Dabo, on the other hand, with the NIL and the transfer portal and all the stuff that he swears he's not going to play into, with the transfer portal stuff, he's at risk of like his legacy's at stake here. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot more pressure on Dabo right now to at least salvage what's left of this. Both these teams are train wrecks, as we've kind of talked about a lot right now. I can't really argue either one of those one way or another. Although I can say that Gio Lopez, I believe he was a transfer quarterback, came in fairly highly regarded for North Carolina this year. Has been nothing more or nothing short of really really disappointing for that Tar Heels team. Kate Klubnik in that same category, but not nearly to the level that this UNC offense has been disappointing. I also think that this North Carolina team is just I mean, Clemson has looked like trash. North Carolina's looked like trash against worse teams. I mean, that's that's kind of where I'm at. I do believe to the point, David, you can help continue to sell me on the Clemson minus the 12.5. I do worry a little bit about Clemson being able to win by 2 touchdowns because of their offensive limitations. But North Carolina has just been terrible, and their defense has been terrible to boot.
Geoff, I've never seen anyone come to the right conclusion with poorer logic than you just did. And I submit the following to you.
Hold on.
You just said to me that in this coaching matchup, it is Dabo whose legacy is on the line, while apparently Chapel Bill is coming out unscathed. Dabo has 2 national championships. He's the greatest thing to happen to Clemson and the ACC in a generation. He is not the coach in this matchup who is tarnishing his legacy. Chapel Bill, every day, every selfie he posts on the beach with his girlfriend, every embarrassing cringeworthy trademark he files with the patent office is tanking his legacy further and further into the dirt. The fact that you used this logic and made that pick almost makes me question my pick now.
Well, given how you performed last week, I'm starting to question my pick.
Okay, that hurt. That was personal. I don't appreciate it.
Like the last comment was it?
You all heard it here. Carolina on the money line, book it.
Here's the reason that's not gonna happen, Andrew. Carolina is very, very bad.
Some may even say ass, right, Jared?
Clemson might be very bad as well. My only hesitation in taking Clemson and laying the 12.5 is I'm not sure Clemson can score 12.5. However, I think they only need to get to about 20 to cover this spread. I think the final score of this one is 20-7. Clemson wins and covers on the road in Chapel Hill.
All right, here we go. All right, prop bet here. Who scores more, Bill Belichick or Clemson's offense?
Nope. We're going to Tallahassee.
Did he take the special pill? Did he take the special pill?
Doak Campbell Stadium, home of the Seminoles. They're coming back home to lick their wounds, and they are hosting the what is Miami ranked number 2 in the country now? The U officially back, going on the road here. Major matchup. This is maybe the game of the season so far in the ACC. Was this prime time? When are they playing this? We don't.
I sure hope so.
7:38. Yeah, this isn't some SEC garbage. The ACC actually gets it right. They play their high profile games at night when people can watch.
That's right. Sometimes even on Friday night.
That's right.
All right, boys.
7:30 ABC, gentlemen.
It frightens me that it appears that I'm mostly on the same side as Geoff again.
That scares me too.
All right, so Geoff, you're well, tell me what you got here.
Yeah, so I'm taking probably, I guess, the most optimistic view of the Hurricanes coming into this game, and it's to me it's really part of it is the performance that FSU pulled in last week against UVA. Leaves a little bit to be desired in the way that they performed, especially that really the first quarter there, how slow they came out of the gate. Miami, on the other hand, they've had a little bit of extra time here to prep for this game. They had the 2 weeks to prep for this big game, whereas Florida State is only not only on the 1 week turnaround, but on a 1 week and trying to figure out what in the world it is that went wrong up at Scott Stadium on Friday. So I think that those 2 things give Miami more of an advantage coming into this. And also Miami, you look at their resume. I mean, not only are they, until proven otherwise back, at 4-0. I mean, it's not a we were just talking about Louisville being 4-0. They're not even ranked in the top 25 right now, I don't believe, because of their wins. Miami, for what it's worth, they're 4-0, and it has not been a cupcake road that they have traveled to get to that 4-0 point, and they've really kind of made their made their statement with some of these wins and really played uh all their opponents really tough and dominated them in many ways. So the minus, was it 7.5, I think it is, that we're at with this Miami game seems to be getting a little bit on the high side for me to be comfortable with it. But after what I saw against FSU, you give Miami 2 weeks to prep for this game. I think they can pull it out. I mean, until proven otherwise, I think they are every bit that much better than the Seminoles.
Yeah, I like Miami in this one as well. I think clearly the Hurricanes are the best team in the league. They really have looked fantastic on the season so far. We're kind of waiting for them to trip up. This is a game where that could happen, but man, they have really dominated to this point. I'm taking Miami on the money line because I think this game goes one of two ways for Florida State. Either they come out highly motivated, keep it very close, and we see another kind of nail biter in this one, or they let that Virginia game beat them twice, and Miami ends up, by the time you look up, Miami's up 3 or 4 scores. But I think this Florida State team, there's a ton of talent there. I think Mike Norvell is going to get them right, and it's almost enough to get the win. But Miami wins without cover. But I think somebody's going to disagree.
Well, I think you're gonna have two. Listen, I agree. Miami, I think, is the better team, but going to Tallahassee is not an easy feat, and I think that's something that is being overlooked here. I mean, is it 7 in the hook? Last I saw from Miami,
Yeah, 7.5.
that's a lot of points. Florida State is still, I think, a pretty good football team. They had some, if you look back on Friday, plays that didn't quite bounce their way, some questionable referee decisions on how to award time, resetting the clock because supposedly they didn't know that that was supposed to happen, didn't get players on the field. Should have been a penalty. Doesn't matter anymore. The fact of the matter is that Florida State is not a bad team, and they're acting like Miami is a significantly better team. They're pretty equal. I think you look at the top and the bottom of the rosters. I think Miami does win, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to be close in the fourth, and it's going to be a last play drive that's going to determine whoever has the ball last is going to be in position, obviously, to win it, assuming it's within that one score. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. This is easily the must-watch ACC game this week.
I think Jared's really got a good sense on this game and talking about how these two teams come out more closely matched than they might seem. I agree that at least by the numbers, Miami has had a harder road to go, but also they were playing their first game of the season was playing against a massively overranked Notre Dame team that might not still have won a game and yet still be ranked. And it'll be interesting.
Actually, it's thanks to Notre Dame that Bobby Petrino is back.
Yeah, they've won two.
They crushed Arkansas.
I don't believe
Bobby
you.
P's back in the saddle, so to speak.
I don't believe you that they've won two, Jared. I think that they're going to be in the. I think they're holding that top 25 despite an 0-6 start, even though they've only been 5 weeks so far.
How great would it be when they release the college football playoff bracket and you see number 12 seed Notre Dame 3-9.
Yeah.
They're the best 3-9 team ever.
But
it's like up for the debate.
At any rate, all random pot shots at Indy aside, I do think that these two teams are more closely matched than you might think they are at first cut. Legitimately, I think that dropping Florida State 10 spots for their loss is a little harsh. And I think mostly it's attributed to the disrespect of the voters on UVA. I think
100%. Yeah.
I think that if a Vanderbilt team from 2 years ago beat a top tier SEC team, they wouldn't have dropped them 10 spots. So this should have been like a top, I won't say a top 10 matchup, but it should have been a top 15 matchup easily. And these two teams are rivals. Like these are the type of games that get names put after them. Sometimes with a three-peat name attached to it. Gosh, if this were Wide Right 3, that would be super enjoyable in either direction. Honestly,
Actually, what I'm hearing is going to be called the Snow Bowl.
Jared, that's every game to you, in certain places, but no, and so it's really not a everything about watching Florida State so far this year. I took them on the money line in the first game of the season, to say that they were going to be back and that Norvell wasn't going to let the team be that bad. Like them losing to Virginia is not the start of a skid that means that they end up, 4-8 or something like that. I think it's just a bump in the road. The Florida State team is good. They just happened to roll into a Virginia team that was more motivated last week, and I know that it drives David crazy, but I do think that at some point we were going to get to the top of that roller coaster, and it's got to drop down. The high pressure rivalry game seems like the perfect time for Mario Cristobal to forget how the clock works again, in the wrong situation at the end of a game. So yeah, I'm gonna take Florida State on the money line and see if my luck continues to hold. If not, I've got so much padding on you guys. It'll be all right.
Kind of remarkable in this one. The four of us have each of the four possible outcomes. So I think that's another way of saying we have absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
a few other games we don't know what's going to happen. Also, here they come.
yeah, let's rock on out of here with some quick fire bets. I'm gonna kick it off with that game where, hey, I guess I'm gonna pick the spread because Duke is only a 1.5 point favorite while traveling out to Cali. I really didn't think that California or any of our West Coast teams had it in them to travel to the East Coast and beat anyone, honestly. Like neither California nor Stanford have looked good enough to be able to endure that level of travel and then pull out a victory, but sure enough they did. I would be inclined to pick Cal at home because of that performance, except for the fact that Duke had just a monster game against a team that we thought was good. I mean, we are building some righteous circles of suck soon enough here in the ACC whenever Clemson gets beat by Syracuse, who then gets curb stomped by Duke. Like, who knows? Maybe California is actually going to win this game by 40 points. But I would rather believe in the Blue Devils and say that they're not only going to win the game, but they're going to win it by at least 2 points. Jared,
I remember when teams like Syracuse and Pitt have come to the league, and we just have no idea what to do with them. I feel like Cal is the much more extreme version. Like, I think they're low key a good team, but I can't wrap my mind around that being true. So I just keep picking against them every week.
well, this is true, but we also like Duke. Like Duke has looked like a good team, so
Sometimes they're schizophrenic. Like Duke looked like the best team in the country on Saturday.
Yeah,
Against the Syracuse team without their starting quarterback, but I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I picked Duke, but I don't understand Cal.
But a 1.5 point spread also means that the guys in Vegas don't understand Cal either.
That's true story.
All right, so with that quick fire bet that was more like a whole session, I'll make mine short and sweet. SMU spread. Syracuse has got a long ways to go. They got their ass beat. In fact, I have a note here with the 16.5 hook. Take this thing as a guarantee off a bye at home against Syracuse, being more ass than a donkey farm on breeding day. So take that for what you will. SMU money SMU 16.5 hook spread. Take it to the bank.
Says the guy that's down $400 on the air. Why we money to bet?
I'm starting to reconsider my pick.
Shut up.
Well, speaking of games that we don't have any idea what to do with, I got backed into the Pitt Boston College game, and I've got about as begrudgingly as you can Pitt minus 4.5 on this one. Um, Neither one of these teams has been overly strong on the season. Both have had games where they have snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Overall, I do concern myself with Pitt's propensity to turn it over in inopportune times. Neither defense is great. Both quarterbacks like to air it out, so this could be a high scoring affair. Overall, I'm just I feel like Pitt has been closer the last few weeks than Boston College has been in the way they performed in their game. So I'm taking Pitt minus the 4.5. But heck, that minus 4.5, where we're venturing into that, they could end up squeaking this game out by a field goal, and then the minus 4.5 is it doesn't win you the money. So I could see that being a Pitt squeaking out a win and ended up uh, winning by like just 2 or 3 points. So heck, if I know, I think Pitt's going to win this game, but minus 4.5 is really venturing into iffy territory for this Narduzzi team.
No, I like Pitt there as well because I think until Boston College demonstrates that they can perform week to week, you gotta keep picking against them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think the bigger thing is Pitt's propensity to play to their competition. I think that's probably
Yeah.
my bigger concern.
That is true. Well, all right. Last but not least, this is the game that I am most confident about this weekend. This is the my bet the mortgage lock it up pick. This is Virginia Tech minus 5.5 at home against Wake Forest. Wake shot their shot this past weekend. They gave Georgia Tech everything they wanted and more, but they came up short. I think the Demon Deacons come back down to earth against the Virginia Tech team that is finding its way under interim coach Philip Montgomery. He's going to keep winning. He's going to at least make them consider whether hiring in the interim is the right thing to do. And he's going to keep it rolling this weekend.
All right. Well, that's it for the virtual tailgate. You can send your questions or comments to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
And always remember these 3 rules: never get less than 12 hours sleep.
Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as a city.
Never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that. And everything else is cream cheese.
That's ball game.
But we don't play nobody.